it is Crafty Rhea, and I am back today to recycle a couple of Christmas cards. These were in my stash. I thought this one was pretty with all of the glitter. And then I have these two that are the same that I'm going to do something really cool with to make one card out of both of these. And then one card out of this one. So for this video, I'm going to be using some die cuts. I have these Spellbinders Nestability circles that are scallop circles. And I have them on the back on a piece of magnet. I just put a piece of cardboard in between the folder that they came in and stuck that on the back, and that's how I store my dies. It's really easy. So I'll set that aside. I'm also going to be using 5x7 card bases since the cards are pretty much that size as it is. And I think they would go really good on those card bases. I get these card bases, or I got them all from Pat Catan's when they were going out of business. This is the box that they come in. It's from Darris. It's A7 cards and envelopes, and there's 30 sets inside, and they have all of those pretty colors. They're not very Christmassy, but I use them a lot for Christmas cards, so I try to do the best I can with matching the colors. These were, I think, maybe $9.99 a box, but they were like buy 3 get 12 free or something ridiculous like that. So they were very inexpensive, and I bought every one they had. I also bought a smaller style of card just to show you where I get a lot of my supplies. Same place. These are flat cards and envelopes. And these are not quite A2 size. They are 5.5 by 4. And by flat card, I thought they were regular card bases. I didn't realize they were just single little sheets of cardstocks. They don't open. So I use these a lot for matting and different things, but I do use the envelopes. And again, these were inexpensive, and they were, you know, buy a few, get a whole bunch more free. I couldn't resist. I bought a whole bunch. I'm a little crazy, but I do use them a lot. But use what you have on hand. You can always use white cardstock, fold it in half, and then cut it down to the size that you need. I do have a video about how to make any size envelope without a special envelope punch board, so be sure to check that out. It's, I think it's the calendar. I recycled a calendar into envelopes, and I show you a neat little trick on that video. All right, so I have these 3 and I have these, and let's go ahead and get started. I'll be using my Elmer's glue all today instead of art glitter glue. I found I like it really just as much, and it is very inexpensive. Some foam tape as well. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and do this ho 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 first, since it's only one card and it's a little simpler. The card already has a lot of glitter, and I'm going to do what a lot of crafters say. I'm going to let the paper do the work, or in this case, let the card do the work. It's already pretty. I don't have to do a lot to it. I could just stick it down on here and be done, but I want to do just a little extra touch. First, I'll start by cutting the front off. And this is my We Are Memories Keepers trimmer. I like it because it's small enough to have on the camera, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of room on my desk. I felt like I had something sticky on there, but I guess I don't. Okay, so I want to make a little bit of a border, I think. This fits exactly, and I have to figure out what part of the card I can take from. I know I can take from the bottom without really ruining it. I don't want to take much from the top or from this side. So I'm going to take a little bit from the left side. And I'm going to cut it to 5 7/8. And I can't measure the other side because my paper trimmer only goes up to 6, but I'll take about the same size sliver off the bottom and we'll match it up. It just made that H a little skinnier and the bottom letters a little shorter. I still can take a little sliver off the bottom to even it up. I just want just a tiny amount of that red showing, just to give it a matted look. If I had more of the card to cut off, I would, but I don't really. Sometimes you just got to do what you can with what you have to work with. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the sentiment out of the inside. And I love the way that this matches the front, so I'm going to leave that on there. And the back of this is white, so I'm just going to throw it away. If you need scraps of white cardstock to do stamping on or anything, that's the perfect way to get it. Save your card scraps like that. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to grab my die cutter and let's get to cutting. This is my Ellison Big Shot. I bought it right when they changed their name to Sizzix Big Shot, I think. And it was really inexpensive on clearance. I'm going to put this down. I have my magnetic platform and my bottom plastic plate in there already. I always reuse that bottom one. Try to only keep it on the bottom. And then I'm going to take one of these scallop circles and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut out around his face just to pop that O up a little bit and to pop his face off. It's okay that I don't get the very top of the hat, since that is going to be behind the fold of the hat, if you can kind of get what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and line it up on here the way I want it. The magnetic plate in this case is holding it in place, so I don't need to put any tape on it. And then I'm going to put the top plate on top. Make sure it didn't shift, and then I will run it through the die cutter. And since it's a thick cardstock, I'm going to run it back just to make sure. I always keep this painter's tape handy in case I do need to hold something down. Okay, so we have the little Santa cut out. I always store my plates there. Normally I store more into the center, but I'm going to use it again in a couple minutes, so I don't need to wind it all the way back. Put that back. I always try to put my die right back on my magnet so it doesn't get lost. And then I will go ahead and adhere this down. Make sure it opens the right way. Adhere this down to the card back. And I'm going to use my Elmer's glue. As you can see, I have the fine metal tip on it that is the same. This was an art glitter glue bottle. It's a spare that I had. I washed it and I cleaned out that fine metal tip, and I tell you, I cannot tell the difference between this and art glitter glue. It is so awesome. I still have an almost full bottle of art glitter glue. And just put that down. I want to make sure it gets adhered down right, especially in this skinny part. There we go. And then this little piece, kind of line up like that. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to lift this up on some foam tape. I might put a piece on each side. Right before I started the video, my bird Crichton was talking up a storm and whistling, and I thought he'd be so talkative for you guys. But now he must hear the camera rolling, and he's camera shy. So now I have all of that stickiness on the back, and I want to be careful when I lay it down. I want to make sure it is lined up correctly. So I'm going to turn it upside down and line it up where it matters at the hat. I'm going to set it in there, set those scallops right in there, right at that tip, and then lay the rest of it down. That way, you're pretty sure that it's going to line up perfectly. And it's hard to see on camera, but you can see the dimension. And that just kind of pops his head up a little bit. And the hat is where it would normally fold anyway. And I'm going to call that card done once I put the sentiment on the inside. I went ahead and grabbed 2 of those green card bases from that smaller card pack because it goes kind of with the front, and that'll bring some of that color over to the inside. I'm going to put this down in the corner, so I only have to cut 2 sides. Whoops. The glue gives you a little time to work with. And it does dry just about as fast as the art glitter glue. I don't really notice a difference. The back of this card just happened to be shiny, so it was a non-porous surface, so it slid around a little bit. But normally on just 2 pieces of cardstock, it dries about as quickly. And then I will mat that on the inside there. Now I really do love my tape runner, but this is so much faster, and really it's a lot more inexpensive for the amount that you use and how long a bottle will last. Alright, so that one card is done, and now let's do the other. It is a little trickier. So I have these 2 cards. They are from the same company. They don't have the exact same logo on the back, but they are the same company. But the coloring of this red at the top is a little bit different. And the sayings inside are different, which is fine because I can use both of those sayings. I can use one of them for another card. This one here just happens to, what they had done is they had put it in the envelope and then addressed it. And it left an indentation with my name and address on it. So I don't want to use this whole flat part of the card. So I'm going to cut the face out of this one and use this piece as the background. So I'm going to start by cutting the front off of both of the cards, and I'll go ahead and cut the sentiments out while I have it handy. And again, the backs of the card's white, so I'm just going to be throwing the scraps of that one away. And I will probably use this long one since it's a 5x7 card, and there's plenty of room for that sentiment on the inside. Going this way to make it flatter. Put the piece I'm cutting on the flat side. And then I might as well cut this sentiment out while I have the card here. And I'll put this in my little scrap box, my card scrap box, and I'll have it for another card if I need it. Sometimes I have cards that don't have sentiments. A lot of the times people will send me a card and they cut the backs off and don't send the back, you know, for me to recycle, which is fine. And it saves postage that way, and the front's the important part. But then I'll have that for that case. Okay. So this one will be a landscape orientation. And I'm going to cut the face off of this Santa. I'm going to use the second largest of these scallop dies, and I'm going to line it up on here. I don't care that it's going to cut part of his hat off, but I do want it to be on his face, giving a little bit of the white around, but then leaving the bottom part of the mustache. I want to make it as even as I can, and I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of painter's tape right now and just stick it down before I bring up the die cutter, just because I have a better view of it here. Oops, it would help if I put the die, the cutting side down. I bet somebody out there was yelling at me, turn the die over, turn the die over. Okay. All right. And I will put Mr. Santa right there. Double check to make sure it's kind of where I want it. Yes, I think that's perfect. I will run it backwards just to make sure it got a good cut. I don't know why I do that. I don't really think I need to, but I do it. And then what I do, when I store my die cutter, I usually store it in the middle like that to help prevent my plates from warping. Okay, so let's bring all this together. Go ahead and take this tape off. So I have this guy here. First I will go ahead and put this down on the card backing. I want to make sure my sides are even. I do need to take a little sliver off of this left side, which I will do. Not losing anything there because it's just solid green. I like to try to make my cards look even to make them look like they're supposed to be this way. There we go. Let's go ahead and put my die cut away. And I will just adhere this whole piece down to the back. Then I will line this up and set it down. Push it down real good. The pin that I made for my art glitter glue was a, it's a sterling silver or stainless steel, I think it's stainless steel pin, and I used 2 little sequins, one at the top and one at the bottom, of just a cheap plastic bead that I happen to have in my stash. The reason I used the sequins was because the hole in the bead was too big and it was coming, the bead would come right off. So that's why I did that. I just did that to make it pretty because I have this gorgeous one that Linda sent me and I love that one, but that's in my art glitter glue, and I wanted to make something similar for my Elmer's glue. Okay, so we have this piece here, and I can line it right up. The thing is, the hat does not match. The color does not match on the hat. I don't know if you can tell that on camera. They're slightly different. But since the brim of the hat is usually thicker than the hat, I guess you could say, there's some dimension there, I'm going to use my scissors and just fussy cut right along that line. Just going to use just my regular scissors and just, it doesn't have to be perfect. Fussy cut, I don't want any red on there. There we go. And then that, I'm trying to get it lined up with his mustache. I think that would be really good. And then the back of the hat's going to be flatter, so that's fine. Put some of this foam tape on the back. Okay, and then I will take my strips off. Now, if you didn't have the die cut, you could always fussy cut around his face or fussy cut around the shapes, any of the shapes on your cards. So I'm going to take it like I did before. Since there's no foam tape at the very edge, I'm just holding it up slightly and lining up the very edge with his mustache, the lines on his mustache. And that way the foam tape is not actually touching the back of the card yet, but it is lined up where it needs to be. And then I can push it down. And then he's lined up and his face is sticking up a little bit. I think that's really cool. It kind of adds a little bit of texture to his beard. Now, if you really wanted to, I wonder, I'm going to try this. If I could fussy cut just a piece of this. No, because I think it's not going to, I don't think it's going to go right. So it would have to go under there. I wonder if it could. I'm going to try this. I'm going to just fussy cut a piece of this white. Or not fussy cut, but die cut. I may not use it. We'll see. I don't know. No, I thought it would make it a good, you know, a good thing around his beard. I don't like it because then I don't have the whole piece there. Okay, never mind. Forget I didn't do that. Or forget I did that. Pretend I didn't do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this inside piece. I'm going to use this color since it kind of complements the front color. I have a couple of friends that love this color, this aqua color, and these would be great cards to send to them because I know they absolutely love this color. I think that would be really good. I usually try to pick out cards I think someone's going to like when I send them Christmas cards. Okay, there we go. There's the 2 cards that I made from those 3. I think that looks really cute. It does make his face stand out. It kind of gives his beard and mustache some curly cues there. I love it. And then this one is really adorable with his head popping out. And they both have their pieces on the inside. I remembered to do that this time. Sometimes I forget. And then when I'm cleaning up my desk, I'm like, uh-oh, I forgot to do that. Now, I could put a sentiment up here or something on that card as well. So, but I think I might just leave it just so the focus is his head. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. My battery is about to die, so I'm going to cut the end short. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like the video and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. And until the next video, you know what to do. Go get crafting. Bye-bye.